What's going on, everybody? Doug Lane here, Fast Lane Car Care. Got this beautiful blue Yukon Denali. Forget what year it is. Today, I want to do the same thing I have been doing. I'll show you guys how to do the back window, heat shrink it, install it. This is kind of a neat, unique thing that you can pretty much only do on GMs. This one's getting 5% all the way around, and it's going to get a 35% full windshield. So I'm going to piece this up just like I did with the last couple cars. You'll see this video, and you'll see this video. We're going to do these front windows. They've got look at that. They have some kind of unique trademarks. I shouldn't say it's a trademark, but something that you really don't run into on any other brand vehicle, and that is when you roll this window down, this back edge becomes exposed. So you have to cut this a little bit different, and it's basically the same on this deal here. You roll that window down, and now your radius, your top edge, actually comes way down. Another neat thing about this window, I don't know if you can see through it, I've just got one light on. This window is smaller than the other side, so you can't double cut either of these windows. I mean, technically you could double cut that one and then bring it over here and trim it down again. Kind of pointless. This window also has a defroster, and we'll have to cut around this little button. We'll have to take this off, and the other side has no defroster. Here's something I want to point out right here. It says trans 22% plus or minus 2%. So what that means is this film, not film, but this factory tint is 20%, give or take 2%. So that's why I carry only 20% and then down to 5. I don't carry 15 because most of the time 20% is going to be a direct match. I'll get in here kind of close, see if you can see that. Trans 22% plus or minus 2%. So some of the newer GMs will say 17 plus or minus 5%, whatever. So got my heat gun over here warming up. Previous videos you've seen me put like dryer sheet or bar soap on the back window so that we can shrink this. I'm just gonna wet shrink this. So basically I just sprayed it down with slip solution, put my film on there. Now, an interesting thing to take away here, a lot of people think that these Suburbans, Tahoes, even like the Ford Expeditions and stuff have these great big back windows. They really don't. I don't know if you can really see, but right here is the end of the glass, or the end of what you can see through. And then, the edge of the glass is actually right over here. So 45 inch strip, section of film will be more than enough to cover this and give you a little bit of overhang. So they're really not as big as you think they are. Let's get started. This is a really aggressive form of shrinking, and I don't recommend it for anybody that's just starting out. One of the frustrating things is when you're wet shrinking, you're gonna push this moisture out, but then the moisture is gonna want to come back down. So, your finger or your film or whatever is gonna start sagging back down here until you start pushing the solution out of the top. But not a big deal. It still shrank. As long as it starts going, see these little zigzags, then it shrank. So it doesn't matter if moisture gets back down in it or not, it still shrank. So the main reason I chose to wet shrink this over dry shrink is just because the window is vertical, or almost vertical. So when you dry shrink, the film has a tendency to want to slide down on you while you're trying to work with it and stuff. So I just slap it on there wet, and then I don't really have to fight with it trying to come down or whatever. Like I said, I've been doing this for a little bit, so I know what I'm doing. I'm used to it. I know how to shrink it. If you were just starting out, I wouldn't go this route at all. Pull out our light, double check. And you can probably see when I start getting up in here, I start bringing the heat gun back a little bit because you can get this paint really hot really fast if you're not careful. Something to be mindful of. I'm just kind of working these bigger fingers into smaller fingers. Right here is the edge of my border, so anything really below this line is good. I don't have to worry about it. So you can see here, this is where the cutout for the handle and the latch mechanism for the glass is. So this stuff here, more than fine. I'm gonna cut all this out anyway. Okay, so right here you can tell there's like a piece of tar or some kind of junk in the glass. I wipe all these windows off and clean them, but I don't clay bar them or anything. I've never had an issue with it like damaging the film, but it can happen. So just be wary of that. That's one of the reasons why I like using the felt card versus a hard card, because if you do hit this with a hard card, you can scratch or cut the tint. And that's not good, because then you're going to have a hole in your film and you're going to need to redo it. So, like I said, we're doing limo tint, 5% over top of the factory 20%. So we're gonna need some lights. So that whole time I had a 1500 lumen light in here. Now we're gonna have to turn them all on. So hopefully this will shut for us. Perfect. Sometimes you have something in there, it'll stop it and it'll open it back up. So I don't know if you can see, but we'll have to cut around this defroster. So we've got like this black border and we need to cut just barely on the inside. Same with over here, although this one, you can tell it looks different. I think it's been broken and repaired. Whoa! Get out of here, little spider. Sheesh. Just about became Spider-Man. So, let's get started. We'll cut this bottom edge out, and then we'll get the ladder, the stool, and cut out this top edge, and you know, then we'll do the sides. Again, NT cutter. I like them. They're all right, you know. So I'll show you guys something cool here in a minute. Once I get this done, something that's pretty cool about the Suburbans and Tahoes, especially of this generation. You can see I'm cutting it pretty wide. That's not going to give us much room, is it? Just finagle it. I don't like bringing my tip at this much of an angle. That's a great way to scratch the glass, so whenever you do that, you just need to be really careful with how much pressure you're using. Which this glass is already scratched up, and I meant to turn on the camera beforehand, but I didn't because the heater was running and it was cold in here, so I wanted to get a little bit of stuff done before I turned the camera on. Boom. Come over here. Ladder. Alright, so we can see here's our top edge. We're shrank well past it. We're just going to do the same thing we did earlier. Now we're going to kind of roll the blade so we can get underneath. Dun 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 dun. I'm not super concerned with being like really tight or really straight with my cuts on these. We're just gonna go right past that defroster, come right back in, connect to that. Okay. Now let's just go ahead, do the exact same thing here. Uh-oh, I didn't cut here. See for how much? Oh, just for this little bit. I guess the good news would be if you didn't cut all the way through the film, you don't have to worry about scratching glass. That's why, like I always say, be careful. Like, don't just yank the film, because if you have these little spots where you didn't get all the way through, you don't want to yank it and then rip that into your workspace. It was trash night, so both my trash cans are at the street. So we'll just use a trash bag, clean up as we go. Got my old water hose and everything for the power washer and detailing, even though we don't do that anymore. Still handy to have. All right. So we're gonna come back over it with the heat gun and just kind of polish things up. That should be the last we use this, but you never know. So this is like 6,500 lumens of light, and you can tell that it really wasn't that bright on the outside, so That's the only thing I don't like about limo tint. Doing it, especially over factory tint. Very difficult to see out of. Now, are those little spots, are they the end of the world? No, we could have heated them up on the inside. There's a good chance we wouldn't even needed to do that. But, you know, better be safe than sorry. Now, we'll go ahead and cut out our defrosters. And then we're gonna need our keys. Now, if we have the tiniest light gap here, it really wouldn't be that noticeable, but I don't like them. So, I don't even know if you guys can see this. There we go. In there, like swimwear. Same thing here. I'll show you guys why we're being really like careful about where we're cutting this. All right. Now, is it this one? Yep. Boom. Do that so we can actually see. Now we have two choices. We can install it like this, right? Or we can install it with the entire hatch up. Which one do you want to do? It's kind of a choose your own adventure. I haven't even cleaned the inside, but normally this, I mean, they just got this, but normally this is just caked in dirt. So I like to do them this way if they're dirty, because then you can really clean all this and you don't have to worry about dirt running down into your workspace. So I don't know, I'm kind of short though, and I don't really want to deal with that. That's a little bit of a stretch for me. So go ahead and shut this. Do a little trick. We're going to use this window as a peel board. We can set it up like this. We can set it up like this. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to set it up like this. Now you can see the tension in the film from where we shrank it around that curve. I mean, it's not a huge curve, don't get me wrong, but it's still a curve. So now we'll lift it up like this. Make sure we don't get those crossed up much. Okay. All right, guys, you might get wet. Get our squeaky monkey on there. Probably more than enough. Man, I don't know. I might end up using a ladder after all. It's like a really... They're usually not this bad. I don't know. Oh well. We'll make it work. One way or another. So here's why we had to be really cautious, because the film's not gonna stick on this big fat part where that's soldered on there. So that one's pretty rough. And go ahead and just kind of clean that up a little bit. So the film will want to stick. And you know, this is why I think it's been repaired. Look how nice and clean that is. Versus like this is kind of, you know, chopped up. Like, doesn't look very good. Could be completely wrong. Don't know. Ah. Now that I've got that soap dust stuff all over me, fantastic. Come in here and clean this off. Now look at this. This is just one pass, right? Look at all that junk. Yeah, some of it's the soap. You can see the blue, but you can see a lot of the black. It's just the stuff off of these defroster lines. A light little bit of the ceramic border here, but that's how I get my film to stick to the defrosters so well. You'll see a lot of cars driving down the road. Shouldn't say a lot, but I've seen a good many. They're driving down the road and they've got great big bubbles around the defrosters. That's part of the reason. The adhesives failed because either A, it's cheap tint, or B, they didn't do a good job cleaning it. So yeah, we'll grab our ladder here. I don't know how much it's gonna help, but so just a quick little mist. Now I like to start at the highest part. You see this is kind of sloped down. I'm gonna start up here. Just squeegee it across, overlap my strokes. Okay. Now in other videos, probably seen me reverse roll these hatchbacks. I will usually Frankenstein, just because it's not all that difficult to get this up here where you want it. Look at that. Very, very little to do. So we got a little gap over here. We need to, come on, too much. There we go. Get the film going there. Right there looks good. Right there. Dead on. I'm looking at this right here. So I know that if my defroster tabs line up where I had them, everything else is going to line up and look good too. So let me, I'm sure you guys probably had some moisture on you. Yep, so now just like any other back window, we'll start in the middle and kind of work our way out. I know in the last video I kind of started in like a circle, kind of went out like this, on a window this small. And not really a huge deal. So whatever you want to do that works. One thing is consistent with the last video, I'm not pushing super hard yet. I just want to kind of get everything where it's going to go. Just gently, just kind of get things, you know, get enough moisture out that it's going to start to tack. And so that way I can come back across. Alright, so then just give it another quick mist. Now we're going to put some pressure to it. You can see, even though I already went over this, I'm still squeegeing out more moisture just because I'm using more pressure. I'm trying to get the last of it out. You know what? Let's use a Go Doctor. Really, not a huge advantage to using this one over the other one. It's really just a matter of, you know, preference. I just figure for the video, I don't hardly ever use this squeegee anymore, but we'll take it out. One area where this does kind of shine, the Go Doctor versus the Fusion, is, you know, you can tell the Fusion is straight. This has a bit of a curve, so when you're dealing with curved back windows or any kind of really curved window, you know, like this angle, you can get in there a little bit easier. So, I mean, not a huge deal, not the end of the world. You can obviously make do with either one. It's whatever you prefer. But sometimes I like to just switch it up, use something else. Sometimes just to see if I can do it, see if I still got it, see how it works. Got a little bit to push out right there. Same with some of my other videos. You can see I got a couple little bubbles right there, fingers. Where were they? Right there. See if we can't just push them out. Now, if nothing else, we'll just wait, come back, heat these up. Or we can just heat them up now. I could use multiple cords. That way I wouldn't have to keep plugging them and unplugging them, but just the keg hose and the extension cord, they get tangled up enough as it is. So, what we'll do here, I'm gonna clean off our little foot. Make sure there's no dirt or anything on it. And we got one little spot right there. Heat that up. Push it out. Just kind of go across this edge. So got a couple little spots here. Boom. Tell you what, I used to make fun of people that carried flashlights in their pocket every day, but oh my gosh. Do it for a week and you'll realize use a flashlight all the time, especially in my business. But even before I tinted windows, I had the same deal. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave the hatch like this while I do the rest of the vehicle, because if I shut this, then this moisture is gonna wanna run back down here. It can get in this top edge if I'm not, you know, careful, which I'm pretty confident that it's tacked down enough that I don't have to worry about that. But just let it dry like this. Then obviously these streaks and everything, they get cleaned up when I'm done. So the reason why I wasn't super worried about how like perfectly prim and proper this cut is, 2 reasons. One, once this is done, the inside of this is gonna be so dark. When you look out the back window, it doesn't matter if you're sitting in the back or if you're looking through the rear view, you're not gonna see this cut line at all. It's gonna be so dark back here, it's not gonna matter. Secondly, yeah, I mean, you have a huge border. If you wanted to tuck it all the way to the seals, I mean, that's just a lot of work for really no reward. On these ones, I'll try to get them a little bit closer, but it's still really not going to matter. So stick around. I'll show you how to cut out. I'll probably just show you how to do this one. Doing the videos takes a lot of time as far as like editing and all that stuff, and then explaining everything. So I can get this done way faster if I don't show you every window. So this window, we're just gonna unplug that thing. It literally pops off the glass, and it's just a little circle that we have to cut out on the outside. This one over here, super easy. It's just a big, I mean, it's not really an oval. I don't know what you would call it, a rectangle with rounded edges. I mean, I don't know. Excuse me, but super easy. You're just cutting out a shape, sticking it on. There's nothing tricky about it. We got plenty of a border. We got a big border all the way around. The only tricky thing is going to be not touching the headliner, but that's that's super easy to like not do. So thanks for watching, and I will bring you back for the rest of these videos, for the, you know, the other windows.